Hello and welcome back to Live, Laugh, Lily Kincade with your host, your girl, Lily Kincade. Hello. I hope you're having a beautiful day, weekend, morning, night, whatever time of day you're watching this, because I know that one day I'm leaving all these episodes up. So hopefully in the future, when I can't be everywhere, I have these episodes out to hopefully help one of you guys. I'm posting this and recording it on a Tuesday versus my usual Monday, because I was down bad sick this past weekend and I slept so much and I needed to sleep. And it is important to listen to your body, because I'm telling you, unless it's something where you're like, I have to do it now, which I've had those moments, but I was like, I can film this tomorrow. If you ignore that gut instinct to rest and you ignore your body telling you to rest, it will not end up for you good. It will not end up good for you. Anyways, I'm happy. I'm feeling better. I'm recharged. I'm happy to be back with you today. It feels like I haven't talked to you guys in so long since I was sick, but I've also been in the studio all week constantly, which is exciting, working on my album, which is also just crazy. I'm wearing my 405 shirt, which go stream 405 if you haven't listened to it. It's a song off my album, but it's also just a fun bop. I was making a super cool Kincadian fan lyric video all week, and I just finished it. I'm gonna upload it right after I upload this podcast, which I'm so excited. You guys, I'm just so thankful for y'all. And the older I get, as each day goes by, and as I, go even more into this music journey, into this music career, there's not a day that goes by that I do not realize how grateful and how lucky I am, and how I just feel so grateful for you guys to have you guys here. Like, I realize that I'm so blessed and so lucky to have fans like you guys, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Too much love. Can't process it into words. But if you haven't, I guess, get ready to watch that video, or go watch it if you haven't. Anyways, welcome back to the podcast, the rant sesh. Today, we're talking about maturity. I feel like at a certain point, all these topics are going to kind of like intertwine, because there's only so many things you can talk about. But I feel like life, you learn lessons and you keep learning lessons until like things click, and so a lot of things overlap. And so I think that's a good thing. But it's also, I've realized why, no matter somebody's age, no matter what somebody does, no matter what their interests are, we all, like, at our deep core are kind of going through similar seasons and similar things. So that's kind of why I'm always like, you know what? We are so much more alike than we are different, and we have so much more in common than we think. Anyways, today's video is probably not going to be that long, but we're just talking about maturity. Maturity is required. Maturity is required to elevate to the next season of your life. You can ignore that all you want, but that's the truth. And it's something I've started to realize too. Like, maturity is required, and maturity comes in different forms, and maturity can mean many different things, which is, I'm going to kind of rant about that in a little bit. But before I get started with my rant, I have quotes, because we start every episode of Live, Laugh, Lily Kincade with a quote. And if you haven't listened to any of the other episodes, do so. I also have a season 1 in a book that I wrote that just kind of expands deeper on everything I learned in season 1, which is really fun. And it was a challenge to myself. I was like, you know what? I want to make this, and I did it. And if anything, let that be inspiration to you to just go for it, no matter what people say, no matter what you tell yourself. Like, at the end of the day, maturity was required to make that book. Maturity was required to be like, Lily, no, you're not going to scroll on TikTok. You're going to sit your butt down and you're going to write the chapters that you told yourself you would write today. That was maturity. And it wasn't fun, but it was mature. And maturity means sacrificing short-term pleasure, short-term like fast instant gratification for long-term success, setting yourself up for things, and becoming the version of yourself that you really want to be, basically. Anyways, we start every episode with a quote, and I have 2 because I couldn't pick today. Also, it's so sunny today. It's so weird to me because I'm ready for fall. I'm my best self when I'm fall, and I can't wait for our like fall spooky season podcast. I'm ready to wear tights. I'm ready to wear sweaters. I'm ready to watch PLL. I'm ready. I've been drinking pumpkin spice lattes. I made a pumpkin spice latte yesterday at home for the first time with almond milk, and it was really good. And yeah, but I'm just ready for it to be cold, because I have so many cute winter coats. Stream winter coat. But yeah, okay, I have 2 quotes. The first one is by Samuel Uman. Maturity is the ability to think, speak, and act your feelings within the bounds of dignity. The measure of your maturity is how spiritual you become during the midst of your frustrations. I'm going to read that one more time for y'all because that's a good one. Maturity is the ability to think, speak, and act your feelings within the bounds of dignity. The measure of your maturity is how spiritual you become during the midst of your frustrations. Amen to that. Amen to that. And I have one more by Angelina Jolie, who I love. Beautiful, inside and out. I do believe in the old saying, what does not kill you makes you stronger. Our experiences, good and bad, make us who we are. By overcoming difficulties, we gain strength and maturity. Let me read that to you one more time. I do believe in the old saying, what does not kill you makes you stronger. Our experiences, good and bad, make us who we are. By overcoming difficulties, we gain strength and maturity. Angelina Jolie. I love those two things so much because, yeah, as I was saying, something I'm realizing is like maturity is required. It's easy to want to just yell at that person. That person did you wrong. You want to scream. You want to get your revenge. You want to cuss them out. You want to do something petty. And while there's a time and place for pettiness for the sake of pettiness, not very productive. Now, what I do think is mature is taking that anger, taking that frustration, and turning it into something beneficial to you, whether that be like, I'm going to channel all this into art, which is something I'm fortunate enough that I do, or you know what, I'm going to channel this into a book that I'm writing. Some form of creativity is always the best, or if you're somebody who's not creative, but say you're a very like athletic person, channel that frustration into a run, beat your personal record in a workout, in a weightlifting, channel it into something. But maturity is required, and it's something I'm realizing. It's like maturity, I used to think like when I was younger, as probably lots of us did, that maturity was like, oh, with age, you become mature with age. Like, oh, you just get mature means old. Mature doesn't mean old. Mature means wise. And there's a huge difference between age and wisdom. You can be wise at a young age and you can be incredibly stupid at an old age. You can be, vice versa. And I'm realizing this, it's like wisdom is one of the most valuable things. And even in something I love to do is I love reading the book of Proverbs in the Bible. There's 31 chapters of Proverbs if you're not familiar with the Bible. Even if you're not Christian, it's like little motivational wisdom tidbits every single day. And what I've been doing randomly lately is, or not randomly, it's been intentional for the past 3 months since August. I've been like, you know what? I'm going to read the Proverbs of like the day that matches the day, since there's 31 and there's no more than 31 days in a month. So it's kind of perfect. And so like I've been reading like Proverbs 8 on the 8th, Proverbs 10 on the 10th. And time and time again, it's like wisdom. And so something I'm realizing is like maturity is wisdom. When you get wise, that's what real maturity is. And it's been interesting because, when you're young, you think you know everything. And only in hindsight do you not see that. But this is just something I want to like challenge you to focus on, is like, in order to get to that place you want to get to, you can't act the same as everybody in the place that you're currently at. Like, you don't want to put yourself down on the level of everyone around you. Say you have a friend group and people are being kind of petty, or they left you out, or they're being mean to you. You could do the same thing right back to them and level yourself down to their playing field, but you're leveling yourself down. So at the end of the day, it's like you guys are both losing. You're both in this, tit for tat, back and forth. Like, you're not rising above it. Something being mature would be like, okay, having a conversation, or maybe saying, you know what, I'm going to have to let those friends go. I'm going to have to work on myself. I'm going to have to work on my careers, work on my goals, and trust that God's going to put the right friends and the right people who support me in my life at the right time. Like, that's the mature thing. I don't know. I'm just realizing it over and over again, like maturity is wisdom, and you need wisdom to grow, and you need maturity and wisdom to elevate into this next season. It's also about wisdom guides everything. So if the number one thing I could tell y'all is like, look for wisdom, seek wisdom, read books, read Proverbs, ask people for advice. Always be seeking wisdom, not necessarily just knowledge, but wisdom, and wanting to know how to be better every day, And it's so weird. It's so weird to me. Like in every season, I'm like, maturity is required. Like healthy relationships, maturity is required. You can't act like a teenager and expect your relationship to function as a healthy adult relationship. Even me, like I'm about to make my album. This isn't a hobby for me. Maturity is required. I have to sit myself down, do all the paperwork, edit all the videos that are tedious, that take a lot of time, because this is something that I really value, and maturity is required to achieve great things. If you interchange the words maturity and wisdom, it kind of seems less like, because at first, like I was saying, like sometimes I was like, oh, mature just means age, but no, maturity is wisdom. And so I'm just calling out to y'all to start seeking maturity, start seeking wisdom, and know that you're going to have to change your ways in order to elevate. Like maturity is required. You can't just act the same way and expect all these blessings to fall into your life, because you're not ready to handle them. You don't have the ability to handle them yet. And I think that's a blessing. Like a lot of times I look back, even for example, like I always try to use like things, I'm kind of we talk about whatever I'm kind of going through. And this is something I'm just really absorbing on and chewing on and realizing these past few days, as I make my album now and it's the right time, I have the right songs. If I was given this opportunity a year ago, I don't think I would have been ready. If I was given this opportunity 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been ready. Like everything happens at the right time. And so I think that just seeking maturity and trusting that you do not know, like you are not God, is the number one thing I could say. And so right now that's kind of what I'm having to do. And it's required. Maturity is required. I think about like if I was given the opportunity a year ago, not only would I not have been ready, but it would have probably stressed me out, because I would have been like, I don't know what songs to put on. I'm not as confident. I would have been seeking external validation. I wouldn't have had the vision. I would have done everything in my own strength. I would have not been patient. Like I think about if I had the opportunities that I do now, I wouldn't have been ready. Like that's what I mean by wisdom. It's like being able to fully understand that. Like say you're in a relationship with somebody. Maybe you are not at the place right now where you have time for a relationship. Maybe you're working on your career. You're focusing on yourself, your goals. Maybe you want to move. Wisdom and maturity would be like, hey, I don't think I'm at the place where I can be in a relationship right now with you. And like being able to talk about that and be honest, that is wisdom and maturity, not in the situationship valley. Like to me, honestly, like we've all been there. Like I had my fair share, not fair share. I had a few I had like one-ish, two. I had a situationships, okay? We all know that. Go stream Lily Kincade. But now it's like I can't even fathom putting myself in that situation. Like I can't even, my brain, maybe this is my brain slowly starting to form its frontal lobe fully. Scary. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful because I look back at little Lily and I just want to be like, girl, like your heart is so pure. All you want to do is love people. And I can see, I don't feel any like regret or resentment to my past, because A, that made me who I am today. But B, also it's like, my intentions were pure because I didn't know, because I was immature, because I was young and I didn't know what I don't know. And it just makes me think like, everything happens at the right time, but in order to get yourself out of certain situations, you do have to mature, and you do have to, maturity is required. There's really no getting around it. Maturity is required. You're going to have to grow up, and it's not a scary thing. I feel like in society, growing up, getting old, growing up, it's like, no. Growing up is like, means you have learned. It means implementing the things that you've learned and taking responsibility for your actions, and actually knowing that you have the power to go after things in your life. If you want to achieve them, if you want to go after them, that no one's holding you back but you. And so that's just something I'm realizing, and I'm sure it's something I'll keep learning and I'll keep realizing, but maturity is required. So that's what I'm here to tell you today. Maturity is required. I want you to, after listening to this episode, maybe sit down, journal a little bit about the things that you've been holding on to that are holding you back from your goals, whether that be, friendships, relationships, bad habits of yours, negative mindsets, whatever it is. I want you to journal it down. And then I want you to write down, what would the wise, mature version of you do? And start doing that, because you just have to make the decision. You just have to make the decision. So I love y'all. Maturity is required. If you want to elevate, if you want to grow into this next season, whether you like it or not, I'm learning it too. But guess what? Maturity is required, period. Maturity is required. Vulnerability is hard. Things that are uncomfortable are how we grow. So period. Anyways, that's it for today's little episode. Please let me know in the comments if there's anything else you want me to talk about, anything you need advice on. Literally, you can DM me anytime on Instagram. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere. I'm everywhere because I can't have my reputation era. I realized that I can't have a reputation era until I'm everywhere. So I have to be on every platform. I have to do podcasts, this, and I kind of love it because I learned from the best. I gotta have my reputation error one day in the future. Anyways, I love y'all, and make sure to subscribe. Give it 5 stars, please. It helps so much. It takes 2 seconds on Spotify, and I will love you forever, and I can see your reviews, so it makes me so happy. Let's close it off with the affirmation that we always do. Today is a wonderful day. I am confident because I am a problem solver. I always have options because I choose to be optimistic. Today I will learn something new, laugh, and make a difference in someone else's life.